The rain had just begun to fall. Not the kind of storm that crashes down in fury, but the kind that lingers, tapping gently on empty stadium seats. A young boy stood alone by the touchline of a local park in London. 9 years old. No one watching. Not even the coaches who had already decided, he's not enough. His name was Harry. And on that quiet afternoon when Arsenal told him he didn't have the physique for football, something inside him didn't break. It burned. Most boys would have gone home and cried. Most parents would have pulled them out, said it's okay to quit, but not the Kanes. Harry's dad simply said, if you love it, prove them wrong. So Harry trained, not with the best coaches or state-of-the-art gear, sometimes alone, sometimes with cones made of old water bottles. He watched Thierry Henry on TV and mimicked his runs in the backyard. He wrote England on his boots with a marker. He believed even when no one else did. Years would pass. Trials would come and go. His name would be scribbled at the bottom of loan papers. Leyton Orient, Millwall, Norwich, Leicester. Never the first pick. Never the star. Just another kid trying to find a place in a game that didn't seem to want him. While others danced. With flair and fancy tricks, Harry ran. Ran until his legs gave out. Practiced until the lights shut off. He didn't speak much. He didn't show off. But he never stopped. They said he was too slow. Too stiff. Not technical enough. They were wrong. This isn't just a story about goals and trophies. It's about what happens when someone refuses to believe that rejection is final. When a kid, overlooked by the giants of the game, becomes the man who carries a nation's hope. This is the story of Harry Kane, and it begins not on the grandest stage, but in the forgotten corners of football, where dreams often fade. But his didn't. Rejection. It's a word Harry Kane knew too well. At 9, Arsenal let him go. Not good enough, they said. Not fast, not strong, not built for football. But what do they know of fire? Tottenham picked him up quietly. But even there, he was a shadow behind shinier prospects. He wore the same training gear, but you'd barely hear his name whispered among the coaching staff. He was the boy who lingered at the back of the line, who watched more than he spoke. He didn't dominate in youth matches. He didn't stun with stepovers. He was consistent. And sometimes in a world chasing viral moments, consistency gets forgotten. The loans came next. Not glamorous. Not kind. Leyton Orient was gritty, unforgiving. Millwall even tougher. Norwich, then Leicester, a carousel of clubs that barely remembered his name after he left. But he remembered. Each pitch, each locker room, each coach who glanced past him. He held onto those memories like fuel. He played not to impress. He played to survive. At Millwall he found minutes. At Norwich he found cold benches. At Leicester he found doubt. Yet he also found something deeper in himself. It was in Millwall that something began to shift. The cold nights, the scrappy matches, the hunger. He found parts of himself there. Not technique, not flair, but something rarer. Resilience. While other loanees counted down their return dates, Harry stayed behind. After training, practicing, repeating, waiting. He started tracking every missed shot. Not to dwell, to improve. Every goal he scored, he noted what worked. He asked questions no one expected him to ask. He acted like a star before anyone saw him as one. And then, one night, after a reserve game, a coach at Spurs watched him. Really. Watched him. There was no magic trick, no moment of brilliance, just effort. Relentless, exhausting effort. And something clicked. Let's give him a shot. It was the smallest door, but it was all he needed. 20 Mager. The year the whispers began to turn. Spurs had little to lose. They were stuck in transition. The fans were restless. So they gave the kid a run, and he ran with it. 31 goals. A blur of headers, left foot strikes, scrappy tap-ins. No one could explain it. He didn't dribble like Messi. He wasn't explosive like Ronaldo. He was Ordinary. But the net kept rippling. Pundits scratched their heads. Flash in the pan? They asked. But inside Spurs they knew. Harry wasn't a firework. He was a flame. Opponents started marking him tighter. Reporters called him a one-season wonder. But behind closed doors, Harry just kept working. He arrived early, left late, reviewed tapes, took notes, improved every weakness one by one. He wasn't satisfied with scoring. He wanted to create, to lead, to elevate. He studied other strikers. Lewandowski's positioning, Shearer's power, Benzema's timing, then added it to his own game. Season after season, he silenced the doubters. Top scorer, England call-up, captain. But he didn't change. There was a game against Arsenal. The team that let him go. He scored. The stadium roared, but Kane didn't point to his name, didn't taunt the crowd. He just looked up, closed his eyes and whispered something only he could hear. Gratitude, maybe. Or closure. In every goal celebration, there was no ego. Just a nod to the journey. A reminder, he was still that boy by the touchline. He began carrying England, not just with goals but with presence. In press conferences, he didn't boast, he encouraged. When England lost on penalties, he stood by teammates, took blame others tried to deflect. By 2021, he was more than a striker, he was a leader. Greatness, real greatness, isn't tested by success, it's tested by silence. Kane gave Spurs everything, his youth, his loyalty, his body, yet no major trophies. Fans begged him to leave. He stayed. Managers came and went. He stayed. But inside, he wondered, was loyalty enough? Then came 2023, a new chapter. Bayern Munich, a club of titles, a city of dreams. A clean slate. He arrived with fire. He scored, assisted, lifted the team. But once again, fate turned. Leverkusen took the league. Bayern, empty-handed, another season, another heartbreak. After the final whistle, Kane walked off the snow-covered pitch. No cameras, no speeches, just him. Later that night, a teammate saw him in the training room, alone, kicking a ball softly against the wall. "Why are you here?" they asked. He smiled. "Because I still believe." His wife once said, "Harry doesn't fear failing, he fears not trying." That's why, even in the silence, he kept showing up. One day after a crushing loss, Kane spent an hour with youth players. No cameras, no press. Just advice, encouragement, stories. Because he knows the next Harry Kane might be watching. Harry Kane is not the loudest, not the flashiest. But he is the kind you remember, the kind who stayed when others ran, the kind who never forgot where he came from. Some call him unlucky. Others say he deserves more. But maybe Kane was never chasing trophies. Maybe he was proving a point. That character matters. That heart wins. He is still out there, training, smiling, hoping, and maybe, just maybe, the best part of his story hasn't been written yet, because the fire still burns. And if you think this is where it ends, think again. This is not the end. It never was. Because every ending is just another beginning for those who never stop believing.